what was the moment then, Peter, when you started to pull it all together? At what point did you go, this is enough, I'm going to turn it around?
Yeah, it's a good question. So there was one night I was home on my own and I was doing the coke. But there was this point where I realized I was an addict. I convinced myself I was just a habitual user. I was I would I would go through this routine where if score in the evening, just spend the evening on my own, just doing line after line. But I got to this point with this evening where rather than doing a line, going high and then feeling and coming down, do it again, I'd do a line just to feel normal, and then I'd feel terrible, and then normal, and then terrible, and then I was like, "This is awful." I tried to get into the shower, calm down, lay down, and sleep, and I couldn't. I just felt like a mess, and I was an addict, and I guess I just knew there's only one way that goes, right? So I spoke to the doctor. Firstly, I told my dad. I had to tell my dad and get some support, but I spoke to the doctor and they wanted to put me into not into rehab because I'd made the decision just to come off it and come off it pretty easily and just stopped. But I was suffering with really bad depression, anxiety, and I went to the doctor and they wanted to put me on antidepressants. So they gave me the prescription, and I sat in my car outside the doctor's. I was like, "Oh fucking hell! What? How has this happened? Everything like 2 years ago was great." I was like, I didn't want to do antidepressants, so I just Googled in my car alternatives, and I found there was three. It was meditation, yoga, and running. So I went and bought some new trainers, and I went for a run that day, and then I pretty much ran every day for a year, give or take a few days off. I got to the point where I was running 40, 50 miles a year, and look, any addiction expert will tell you all I did is I swapped addictions. I went from being addict in a cocaine addict or a running addict, but I mean, for me that was fine because it was a positive addiction.
Of course.
And I was running 40, 50 miles a week, listening to podcasts and audiobooks. I went vegan, I was eating healthy, I got into great shape. And alongside that, what would happen if my anxiety attacks came on, I'd meditate. And because also I wasn't working, I had a lot of time on my hands. So I would just every day with nothing. It's so funny. If you stop work and actually stop work, it's very hard to fill your time. You're like, what do I do? So I really struggled. Like most days I'd have a nap, which was great, but I really struggled. So what I ended up doing was going to the gym, and whatever class was on, I would do. I was doing yoga and Pilates and anything. I didn't care.